Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to show you how to set up a Nintendo Switch Lite. Now this video is aimed at beginners, those of you that may have never set up a console before, or maybe you haven't had a console in the last 15 years and you're not 100% sure about how things work now. Hopefully this video will explain most of it. Now if you're used to setting up consoles or you've already got a Nintendo Switch, there is no point in watching this video. You are not going to learn anything, so you might as well turn off now. This is purely aimed at beginners. So this one here has never been set up before. I only got this one today. I opted for the yellow version and I got it in the UK. So the plug might look a little bit different, the power adapter might look different than your one depending on which country you're in. But it's going to be a complete setup from start through to finish, and hopefully I will go through the main points. So let's get started. Let's start with the unboxing. So basically with the boxing, it's there's not really much written on it, apart from, if you have a look here, it just tells you what games you can and can't play it with. This is an example off the back of the game here. So it says the Nintendo Switch Lite system is only compatible with Nintendo Switch software that can be played in handheld mode. See back of software packaging. The system cannot be played in TV mode, nor does it include HD rumble, IR motion camera functionality, or detachable controllers. So if you were to have a look at the back of a game, especially if you were buying this for someone else, then what you need to do is you need to have a look here. So this is Rocket League, and if you have a look, it can be played, this particular game can be played on the TV in docked mode, tabletop mode, and handheld mode. So if you had a normal Switch, you would be able to play it in all three modes, but the Switch Lite will only do handheld mode. You can do tabletop mode if you connect other Joy-Cons up to it, but it means you have to buy them separately, or for example you can connect a Pro Controller, but I'll show you all that later on in the video. So if you're buying games, make sure that it does definitely support handheld mode. Right, now let's open this up. And it's just showing you here that this is how you charge it, using a USB-C port at the bottom, and it just says press the power button to enter or exit sleep mode. Right, so here we have it. Right, and that is it there. Now before we go any further, let me show you this compared to the normal Switch to show you the size difference. Right, so here we have the normal Switch, and you can see here it is considerably smaller if you look at it there. But the main thing that you will notice is how much lighter it is than the Nintendo Switch. So this comes in at 275 grams, while the normal Switch comes in at 400 grams. So it's 125 grams lighter, which doesn't sound much, but it will you'll feel the difference in the hand. Let's see what else is in the box. Let's open it up. We've got some instructions. So it looks like this is for the Switch and the Switch Lite. So not all of this is applicable for the Switch Lite, because for example you can't dock it and you can't put it in tabletop mode either. Right, okay, and we have the power adapter here. So here we have it here. Right, so to use the power adapter, we just need to plug this end into a power supply, and this will go into the bottom of the Switch. So let me plug this in. Right, so this is called a USB-C port, and you will see here we have a USB-C socket. Now the good thing about this is it will work either way round. So we can plug it in this way, or we can plug it in that way. So you can't actually get it wrong. Right, so I'm just going to leave that in because the battery might be quite flat. There you go, you see it's booting up automatically. If you didn't plug that in, you would just have to tap the power button here and then it will boot up. Right, now for this bit I'm just going to turn the lights off here to make it slightly easier to see. So remember now, it is a touch screen as well. So if you do something wrong, just like there where I did the wrong language, just press B for back. So on the Nintendo Switch you will find that A is like the enter button and B normally brings you back. So let's just press B for back, or we can just tap down here. So I'm English, so I'm going to leave it on English, and I'm just going to either press A for OK, or you can just tap down here. And then pick your region. Please read important information document carefully before using this console. So you can basically scroll through there and see what you can and can't do. do back, and I'm just going to go to next. And now it's searching for networks. So basically what you have to do now is you have to look to where your router is in the house. Now in the UK we call it a router. You will probably know it as a router if you're from the States or other countries. Basically it's the box that gives you the internet. So let me just give you an example. Right, so they come in all different shapes and sizes, but it will be something resembling this. It will be a box that will normally have flashing lights on, and it will have numerous ports at the back. Now each router has what's called an SSID, basically the name of the router. So this one here is BT Hub 5 JZ6H, and then it will have a wireless key. It might be called a password, it might be called a passphrase, and this is the thing that you have to enter in to the Nintendo Switch after you've chosen your router. So some routers make it easy and you can just pull out the card, so you can leave this where it is and you don't have to write it down on a bit of paper. And then what you need to do is you need to go down and you need to find your particular router. So have a look at your SSID. Now with this one, this is not up here. My router is this top one here. So you can move down. Obviously you're going to be picking up all your neighbours' routers as well. Make sure you just click on your router, because there's no point in clicking on somebody else's, because you're not going to know their password to gain access to the router. Now to move around you can just use a touch screen, or if you have a look here you can use the left analog stick and then you can move around. When you found your particular one, you then need to press A, or you can just tap A down here, or just tap the screen here. And now it's going to ask you to enter the password for your router. So pretend now we were doing this one here, we would enter the wireless key here. Now obviously I'm just going to have to do this bit off camera. And just to show you, this is my real card of my real router. You can see the top there is the SSID, and the thing I'm covering up is the Wi-Fi password. So that's what I'm going to enter in now. Now with this, you're just going to be tapping the touch screen to enter in the digits. So for example, if I tap there, you can see it goes up there. You can also move it along here and then press A, and you can tap the digits there. If you make a mistake, press B and it will delete one. Now if you need to do a capital, just hit down this uppercase arrow here and you will see that they will all go to capitals. Press it again and it will stay on capitals. Press it again and it will go down to lowercase. Right, okay, so I've entered the password now, it's blanked out, and I just need to press OK or the plus button. You can see there, two different options, tap it here or the plus button will also do OK. And now it's just going to connect to the internet. Okay, so successfully connected. So now we're going to go to OK. And we've got to choose our time zone. So I'm going to go to London and I'm just going to press A. Now a user will be added to the console. Important data such as saved data is tied to each individual user on the console. Select how you would like to add a user. So now if this is your first time, you're going to be creating a new user, which I'll quickly go through now. But for me, I'm going to be importing a user from another Nintendo Switch console because this is my second one. It says you can transfer a user or you can copy an existing user and continue using it on two consoles. So for example, if this was your first time, you would go to create new user and then you can create your own icon. Yeah, or you can, for example, just select one from here. And then you can enter in your nicknames. Remember, this doesn't have to be your real name, this is just a nickname. So for example, if you were to call yourself Jimmy, there we go, why not? Press OK. And then it says this user will be added to the console. Okay, and now it says you can link a Nintendo account to your user. So basically, you need to have a Nintendo account to get the full use out of the Nintendo Switch. For example, if you wanted to buy something from the eShop, even if you just want to browse the eShop, you're going to have a Nintendo account. Also, if you want to do anything online, like you want to play with your friends and stuff, then you're going to have to pay extra each year to have a Nintendo Switch online account. And then, for example, on Mario Kart, you would be able to play with maybe your school friends and stuff like that, or other people you know. So even if you don't go online, it's still really useful to actually have a proper Nintendo account just so you can see what offers they have on, because in the eShop sometimes you can get games for like £1 and £2 when they have their offers on, so it's well worth doing that. What you would do there is you would go to sign in and link. Right, okay, so it's saying a system update is required. A system update cannot be performed during the initial setup of the console. To perform a system update later, select System Settings, System on the Home menu. Okay, so we're just going to have to go to skip for the time being, so let's just go to later. And now it says additional users can be added if this console is to be used by more than one person. So for example, we can go to add another, and then we can do exactly the same thing again. But for the moment, let's just go back and let's just go to skip. Right, and this is now talking about the Nintendo Switch Online features. So basically you can just read the key features of this and it will tell you what to do. Also you get free games each month, like NES games and stuff. And as well as that, quite important, you have your data backed up in the cloud. So if you were to ever break this or lose this, if you got another Nintendo Switch, you wouldn't lose. If, for example, you've put 200 hours into Zelda, you're not going to lose all that data. Right, let's go to next. And now it offers you to do parental controls. So let's just set up parental controls just to show you. Now it says here, the Nintendo Switch Parental Control app lets you use your smart device to set play restrictions for your child. It is available to download free of charge. And you tap this one if it says if you've already downloaded the app. If you don't have a smart device, let's press X. It says here, you can still set parental controls even if you do not have a smart device. However, you will not be able to set a daily play time limit, set a bedtime alarm, or check playtime and games played. Right, let's go to next. So basically you have to have, for example, like a smartphone or a iPad or something like that to set that up. Right, so now you can do your restriction level. So at the moment it's on none, but we can have it, for example, teen, child, young child, or custom. Let's go to custom. And now we can actually choose what we want. So for example, restricted software, we can have it for 18 plus, 17 plus, 16 plus. You get the idea. So you can really set it up exactly as you want it. So for example now, Rocket League, you can see here that this is available for 3 and above. But then if we were to look at a game like Doom, you see Doom would be 18. Let me just give you an example. 1-2 Switch 7, FIFA 18 3, Street Fighter 12, Mario Kart 3, Zelda 12. So you wouldn't want to be setting some restriction on here for example 10, software rate it for 10 plus, and then go and buy, for example, your son or daughter Zelda, because Zelda is rated for 12 plus. So yeah, obviously do a bit of research first of all on the games you want to buy and if they're suitable or not for your children. Right, so that's that. Let's go back and we have content rated system. So at the moment you can see it says PEGI, and if you have a look here, that's what all these ones are. PEGI. Remember, I'm from the UK. Right, and we have other options, for example, posting screenshots, videos on social network, not restricted. So if you didn't want them posting, for example, on a Facebook account, because on here you can tap the button here and you will see it will take a picture. And on a game, if we were to hold this button down here, this capture button, it will actually take a video, and then those videos can be posted online. Right, so for this one here, I am just going to put it back, and I'm just going to press OK because I don't actually want any parental settings on this, so I'm just going to go to skip. Right, setup complete. So now we can just press the home button, and now we're going to update it. So you can see at the moment there is no games on here, and in a little while I'm actually going to put my user on here, and then I'm going to download a game, re-download it, because you don't have to pay. If I've already bought digital games, I can download them here on the second console for free because I've already paid for the digital rights for them. So I'm going to go down now and I'm going to go to System Settings here. With anything, you can just use your analog stick to move around, or again, touchscreen. I'm going to go all the way down to System, and I'm going to go to System Update. It says System Update is available. Select Update to start the process. Right, so let that just work through for a few minutes. Right, there we go. It's now updated itself. And now let's just go back and see what version it's on. So System Settings, all the way down to system, and current version 9.0.0. Right, okay, so now every time we want to go back to the home page, we just have to tap home. If you want to take a picture of anything, just tap this button here. This is a D-pad for moving around the screen. We also have an analog stick here, and these you can also click in. So if you listen, so you can click in. We have a left button and a right button, and we have a ZL button and a ZR button. So these are like the bumpers, and these are like the triggers, these bigger ones here. We have X, Y, B and A, again the right analog stick, and it also clicks in. And we have a plus, and we also have a minus here. Up here we have volume, so when we press that you can see the volume is moving up and down. And we have the power button, so if we just tap the power button, you will see it will just go into standby mode here, and then if we just tap it again, it will come back on. Now let's say if we wanted to shut down the switch completely, so let's say you're not going to be using it in a while, what you would do is you would hold down the power button for a few seconds and it will bring up a different menu. So if you watch this, holding it down now, and can you see it's brought up this menu here, and if we want to shut it down completely, we can go to power options and we will go to power off. Sometimes this is useful if your switch is playing up. If something's not working properly, don't panic, just completely shut it down and then turn it back on again, and often that will clear the problem. Right, okay, so you can see it's completely off now. So if it's going to be left off for a while, this would be the best way to save your battery. So let's just tap it again to turn it back on, or you can insert a charger and that will also turn it on. Right, okay, so now at the moment, if you have a look up here, you can see that the icon shows that we're charging, but we don't really fully see how, I mean, you can see it's kind of about 2/3 full, but it's not that accurate. What we can do is we can tap it, and you will see it will come up with 63%, and then it will disappear again. If you want it on there permanently, then we can change that in the settings. So if we go down to system settings down here, and if we go all the way down to system, and then if we go to where it says console battery, we can tap that, and it will go to on. And now when we press the home button, you can see it always says the percentage as well as the icon. So this is quite good because it gives you a much more accurate way of testing it, and you'd have to keep tapping it. Right, now let's say if you want to change the theme over to a dark theme, hopefully in the future more themes will come along. Again, system settings, and this time we work our way down, and we have a button called themes, so we can just press themes, and at the moment we're on basic white. We can change it to basic black. In fact, I think I will leave it on that for the purpose of this demonstration because it stands out a little bit more. Now when it comes to playing a game, all we need to do is get the game of your choice, and you need to plug it in with the picture facing you. So we have a little slot up here that says game card. Get your thumbnail or your fingernail under that and just lift it up, and you can now see in there, this is where we place the card. Okay, so it's not going to go in the wrong way. If you put it in that way, you can see it goes in a little bit, but it's not going in, it's just kind of wobbling around the place. So always do it with the picture facing you, and you slot it in like this and in until it clicks into place. There you go, did you hear it click? And now automatically it will come up here. Now the very first time you play any game, the likelihood is it will have to update itself. So I'm going to press A now, and it says here a new update is available. It will be downloaded now. So again, I'm going to start downloading it. Good thing about Nintendo Switch is a lot of games do update quite quickly. Things like Fortnite will take an awful long time to update, but other games like this, you can see it's just going to be a couple of minutes and then you can play. And also when the Switch updates itself, normally it doesn't take hours, so it updates itself very quickly, which is good because it means there's more playtime. Right, so you can see that that's downloaded now, and now it will select a user. So we've only got one user, so it automatically is on this one. If you had 4 or 5 users, you would then move left or right to choose the user you want. So then you just have to press A, and then it will load up the game. Now just while that game's loading, let me just show you a few of the things. So here we have a speaker and another speaker. So stereo speakers left and right. And if you have a look at the back here, there's 2 intakes for the fan. So in here we have a fan, so it sucks in the air from here, and then this is the exhaust here. So sometimes on a very hot day, or if you're playing a demanding game, you will hear that the fan will get quite noisy, but that's fine, it's doing its job. It's basically cooling the Nintendo Switch down. So if possible, try not to cover up these vents. Chances are you will be okay even if it's just left on, you know, like a duvet on your bed, for example. It will still be fine, but it is just good practice, if possible, to leave the vents clear so that you have airflow around it. Right, now the volume is up here, and you can see the little icon moving up and down. And if we go all the way down, you will see it will go to mute. Now, as well as that, if we were to hold down the home button, you can see we also have an option here. So not tap the home button, but actually hold it down. There you go. You can now see we can adjust the volume from here as well. Yeah. And as well as that, we can adjust the brightness. So let me just put the volume down flat for a moment. The brightness as well. Yeah, you can see. So now on a very sunny day, you will have to have it brighter. At night time, if you're playing it when you're in bed, you can have it down lower. And as well as that, not only will it be better for your eyes, but you're going to have a longer battery life on it as well. So the lower the brightness, the longer the battery will last. Now, battery on this will last quite a while. I think it's estimated between 4 and 7 hours. But obviously it's going to vary on the game you're playing. You can also, from this menu, access flight mode as well. So let's say now if you were going on an aeroplane, you would just tap that and flight mode is on, and you cannot connect wireless controllers to it, and also it will knock out the Wi-Fi as well. You can see the little aeroplane symbols come up here instead of the Wi-Fi symbol. So let's put that back on, and then in about a minute the Wi-Fi will connect back up again. Right, okay, so there you go. You can see that that screen looks absolutely lovely. So it's only 720p, but because it's slightly smaller and because a lot of the Nintendo games are so colourful, you can just see, especially with the yellow there, I think that looks absolutely amazing. Right, okay, so that's that bit there. We won't bother playing the game just yet. Let's press home. And now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up myself on this Switch. I'm going to transfer my other Switch over to here. So on here I've got a load of games, and you can see that I'm Donkey Kong up here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a user to this, and I'm going to add myself, and that will then bring over all my games when I go into the eShop to download them. So we're going to go to System Settings, and we're going to go to User, and then we're going to go to Add User. We're going to have to close the software that we're currently playing. And now we're going to import a user from another Nintendo Switch console. Do you still have the console that you'd like to import a user from? Yes, I do. Do you plan on continue to use the original console in addition to this one? Yes, I do. Right, please link the same Nintendo account as the one you're using on the other console. So link to a Nintendo Switch account. And now I'm going to basically sign in using an email address or sign in ID. So this is something that you've got to create beforehand. So if you're interested in how to create a Nintendo Switch account, then basically I will link to my video that I did on this down in the description, so you can watch that, because that's like a separate video that shows you how to do it from, for example, a laptop. Right, so now I'm just going to add in my sign-in details here, which I have to do off camera. Okay, so I've entered in my details and it's saying please wait, and it says this user will be added to the console, and you can see it's picked me up because I am this one up here. The user has been added to the console, so now in the top left we're going to have two people, and you can see there Jimmy and Vince. Let's go home. And can you see up here now, there's two of us. So if I was to go back into Mario Kart, it will now give me the option who I want to play as. So you can each have your different save data. For example, in one game, somebody might have completed 80% of it, and Jimmy might have only completed 10%. And that way, you can still continue on your part of the game. So you're not, although you're sharing a console, you're not sharing the levels that you are in that particular game. Right, okay, so that's that one there. Let's go to the Nintendo eShop, and I'm going to show you how to re-download a game, and also then I can show you how to download a game. So it's going to ask me who's using it. If I was to do Jimmy, because it hasn't got an account, you will see that it won't let me do it. It says please link a Nintendo Switch account, and this is why it's important to have a Nintendo Switch account, so you can get enough out of your console. Otherwise you're not having a full experience. Remember as well that you can get free games. Games like Fortnite are free. The way they make their money is because then the children like it so much, not just children, adults as well, that then they want to buy skins. So for example, they want to change the appearance of their player to make it more individual, and that's how they make their money. So basically it says enter the password for your Nintendo Switch account. Now you can set it up so you can skip this in the future. So if it's just going to be you using it, you can skip it. Obviously if you're passing this around numerous different family members, then you might want to not skip it, because then otherwise they might buy games and it will come out of your account. So I'm just going to press enter and I'm just going to type in my password. Right, okay. Right, there we go. So here we have like the recent releases here. If you wanted to go down to current offers, you will see that sometimes you can pick up very cheap games. So 10% off, 25% off, 80% off. So for example, this game here, £1.79. 89p for Fishing Universe Simulator. You get the idea, another 89p. So sometimes some of the cheaper games can be okay. Maybe a bit more like mobile phone games, but if you have a little look around the place, sometimes you can pick up a bit of a bargain. Right, okay, so let's say now if you wanted to re-download a game that you've already got. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the icon up here. So this is me up here, and I'm going to go down to where it says re-download. And now these are all the games that I can re-download. So obviously some of them would be quite big with the data, so I don't want to do Fortnite because we'll be sat here for the next hour. But let's say if I was to do this Blazing Star up here, what will happen is it will say download started, and if I go back home, you will now see it's come up here, and there's a little bar down the bottom there, and that will work its way across. Yeah, you can see it moving now. Right, so that will just download in the background. Now with the eShop, what you can do is every time you buy a game, you will be given coins that you can then use for future purchases. If you're buying physical copies of games, because for example you like to have the physical copies, then normally you will still get a percentage towards it. So for example, if you want to redeem a game, what you would do is you would put your game in here. So for example, I've put Mario Kart in here, and then if I click on that one and if I press plus or minus, you can see here that I can go down to where it says My Nintendo Rewards Program, and then I can earn points, game card version only. Now I've already collected all the points and put them towards other games. Okay, so now it's just going to check online, and it says it's already been collected for this software. So obviously you can't then give this game to your friends and get them to do it. Once the game's been collected, it has been collected. But it's still definitely worth doing that. Now what will happen is, if I want to play a digital game, because this is on my second console, this one will have to be connected to the internet. So for example now, if I press A to play this, often it will say check in to see if it can be played. There you go, check in to see whether this software can be played. That's because I haven't actually bought it on this console, I bought it on console down here. So this is like my primary console and this is my secondary console. And with this one I will always have to be connected to the internet to play my digital games. It won't matter when I put in a physical game, but on a digital game, if I'm not connected to the internet, it will not allow me to play that game. So if you think you're going to be using this when you're out and about, and this is your home console, then what you need to do is set this one as your primary console, and then this will need to be connected to the internet every time you want to play one of your digital games. But it's still a great feature that we can now share games between the Nintendo Switches. Now for example, if you want to move around your saved data, you want to play a little bit on here and then for example continue on this one when you're out and about, and then come home and you want to play this one where you left off here, then you're going to have the Nintendo Switch Online account, because this is where you would upload, for example, your data to the cloud and then download it from here. So if for example we were playing on here, we could upload it to the cloud, and then later on when we're on here we could download it from the cloud. So let's say if we went to, well look, I can just show you on Mario Kart here, press plus, and if we go down to save data cloud, you can see that the current backup display of your saved data is displayed here and it's backed up. But if it wasn't, we could click that and then it would allow us to download it from the cloud. Yeah, you can say backup save data or download save data, and then you will see little arrows going to and from the cloud here. So it's fine if you've got two switches, you can still play in between both of them. And now let's take the charger out for a bit. We're at 80% at the moment. So now if you want to do your headphones, you just pop your headphones into the jack up here, and you can see now it will bring up a headphone volume here. And if we move it here, you can see that it's going up and down. And it says here, do not listen at high volume for long periods of time. So we can control the volume from here. And it will leave off where you had it at last time. So if, for example, you have it 3/4 of the way, unplug it. It doesn't matter what we do with the normal volume. So for example, we can have the normal volume right the way down here. When we plug in the headphones now, you will see it will jump up to 3/4. And then when we unplug them, it will automatically go to mute because it assumes that you want to have it quiet, and then we can put it up. But again, that can be changed in settings. So we just go down to System Settings, and then if we go down to System, and then go to mute when headphones are disconnected is on. If we were to turn that off, then it won't go to mute. So for example, now you will see we've got our volume 3/4 of the way. Plug in the headphones, it goes to there, take them out, and you can see it goes back to 3/4 of the volume. So you can change that to do what you want to do with it. Right, now let me show you how to connect up other controllers to it. So let's say now if you did want to do a bit of tabletop gaming with your friends, and you had a Joy-Con and also a Nintendo Switch Pro controller. What we would do is we would go down to this icon here, which looks like a little Joy-Con. This one just here. And we will give that a tap. You see it says controllers. So let's go into that. And at the moment you can see the picture is just off the Nintendo Switch Lite in the correct colour as well. So if we want to connect up a Joy-Con to it, at the moment this is still working on this switch up here. So let's disconnect it from there and connect it to here. We need to go to change grip order. And now it's telling us what to do. We're going to hold down the sync button here. So I'm going to hold it down for a few seconds until it starts to flash. There you go. And now it's flashing. Okay, just press OK. There you go, it's paired. You can see now that it says it's paired there. And we can use it in the sideways orientation, or if we wanted to connect up to, we can use it in this orientation here. So let's do it in the sideways one. And there you go, you can see now we've got it there, and we can start to control the Nintendo Switch via this one here. Remember, it's in the sideways orientation. So now if we go back down to controllers and press this one here to enter, because that's going to be the same as A when it's sideways, you can now see that not only have we got the yellow switch, we've now also got the Joy-Con down here. So now let's also connect up the Switch Pro controller. My battery's flat at the moment, so I've got it plugged in. So there's a little sync button here. We're going to hold this down and these lights will come on and start to flash. So I'm holding it down now, and there you go, it's flashing. And wait for it here now. You can see now it's connected up the Pro controller, and it also has your battery level as well. Can you see it's showing that it's charging and it's low? So if we just go back to the controller page, you will now see that on this one here, like this has been disconnected, so let's connect this one back up. There, can you see that this battery is about halfway full? And this one is charging. And now we can play in tabletop mode if we wanted using these controllers. So as you start to fill up your Nintendo Switch with games, you will quickly run out of the internal memory. Each game will take up a different amount of space. Some of these older games might take up not even 0.5 of a gigabyte, but then you will get other games that might be 10, 15, 20 gigabytes, in which case then you're quickly going to use up the internal memory. Because remember, with the Switch it only comes with 32 gigabytes, and out of that, a portion of that is used for the actual operating system. But it's not a problem. If you start to run low on space, just put in a microsd card. So what you need to do is go down to System Settings, and then if you go to where it says Data Management, you can see that you have the system memory available, and right now I've got 21.8 gigabytes available. The games are still downloading, so as they start downloading and completing, this will get lower and lower and lower. At the moment you see microsd card is not inserted. Now I'm not going to format this one because this is my one for my actual working Nintendo Switch, so I need it for that one. But let me just show you how you do actually install it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fully shut down the Nintendo Switch, like so. And I'm just going to lift up this little flap here, and then I'm going to insert the memory card into it. So what we're going to do is, if you have a look on there, it actually tells you how to insert it. So you can see if you look at the memory card this way, that's upside down. If you look at it this way, it's the wrong way round. So it wants you to insert it that way, just like the picture. So that is exactly what we're going to do. So we're just going to insert it here like so, and just do it until it clicks. There you go. Now that's clicked into place, and you can close that one. Now this is a 64 gigabit memory card, so you can already see I've got twice the internal. I've got twice the space of the internal memory that comes with the actual Nintendo Switch, and it will recognise when you turn it on that it has had an SD card installed. There you go. A system update is required to use this memory card. And you can just do your system update now, and then you can format the memory card. Now I'm not going to format it because I want this one to be on my other Switch. So I'm just going to take it out again. Now when you go to take it out, you do have to turn off the Nintendo Switch again, otherwise it will throw up an error telling you that you have to turn the console off. And to take it out is exact reversal. All you do is lift that open and press in, and then it will pop out like that. So if you think you're going to be downloading a lot of games, then get yourself a bigger memory card. You can still get, for example, 128 gigabytes relatively cheaply. 64 gigabyte one on Amazon is around about 18 UK pounds, so probably around 20 US dollars. Right, now before we end on a bit of gameplay, I just want to show you how you can test your buttons to make sure that they're all working properly, because after you've been using it for a while you might start to think that you've got a bit of stick drift, or one of the inputs is not working properly, and it can be hard sometimes on a game to actually fully test them. If we go down into system settings, and if we go all the way down to controllers and sensors, we can then go to where it says calibrate control sticks, and if we press in on each of the sticks it will show whether they're drifting or not. So right now you can see that we've got a cross in the middle, and it doesn't matter where I move, it resets itself back into the middle. If this was slowly moving up here like this, then chances are it means you've got stick drift. As well as that, you can see that these are analog, so they're only moving a small bit if I move them a small bit. And then we can exit that, and then we can do the same on the right analog stick. So these are useful ways to check to make sure that the sticks are working. We can test all the inputs of the buttons by going to test input devices, test controller buttons, and now I can go through every single one of the buttons and it will come up with them working, even click in and out. D-pad here, that you know is working because it will come up here. If I press home it will go to home, and as well as that, remember we can test these ones as well, so even on your Joy-Cons and stuff you can still test the buttons here. Right, go to home. If you want to test the touch screen, go to system settings, again controllers and sensors, and this time we're going to go to test input devices and test touch screen, and now watch, can you see? It's placing so many dots per second. So if you go slow it's more like a solid line, and if you go quick you can see that they're all dotted around the place. If you leave the screen and then go back onto it, you start again fresh. But this way you can test every single part of your touchscreen. Right, so that is it. Let's end on a bit of gameplay. Now to drift round corners we're going to either hit the right bumper or the ZR. And to use your power-ups you just press the left bumper or the left, the ZL. Now if you want to get rid of, for example, that smart steering, you can just turn it on and off here, tilt controls on and off, and also auto accelerate. So let's put the tilt controls on and I'll show you that working. So now you can see that when I accelerate and go this way, that the tilt controls are working. And use the power up. There we go. Right, so that is it for the Nintendo Switch Lite. I hope you enjoyed this video. It looks like a nicely made console, and it's going to be more portable than the actual Switch itself. If you're undecided which one to get out of the two of them, you just really need to think who's going to be using it. and where are you going to be using it most. If you've got more than one child, then realistically this is going to be a better buy because it's easier to play on the TV with both Joy-Cons. While if you've only got the one child, or you think it's going to be used more when you're out and about, then the Nintendo Switch Lite is going to be quite a bit cheaper and also more portable as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care, bye now.